Rather than Stephen Howson, Stretford, Paddock, outside the mix zone where we have been mostly getting pied by all the players that have been walking past. But there's actually quite a few that have stopped and had a little brief chat with us. And we managed to speak to Bruno Fernandes as well, so check that out. He talks about his captaincy. Joe is behind the camera for us as we're operating this. I'm going to get Joe to throw me out some questions and I'll do the answering. How's that sound? Well, doesn't matter how it sounds, that's what we're doing.
First of all, talk to me about Kobbie Mainoo.
Kobbie Mainoo, for me, today was the standout performer. I am continually impressed by the level of maturity and composure. Like, Manchester United academy players generally arrive freshly delivered, right, in the box with a couple of things. A first touch, usually, a little bit of a level of skill, and for the most part, they're generally athletes. Yeah, most of the academy players that come through United, they've got a little bit of an athletic polish going on with them. You don't usually see out of shape ones or slow ones, right? So usually you've got those three things going on. The things in the game that take a long time, that take experience, is the level of maturity. And being able to play simply is one of the most complicated, difficult things to do in football. And Kobbie Mainoo manages to play simple football. And I know that sounds like a real basic thing, but it's an incredibly difficult thing for a youngster who will be... Listen, when he goes to Power League with his mates, he's pulling out so many tricks. Here's your mate. Fifth best manager in London. So, when he goes to like a Power League, he's pulling out tricks that'll make you just put your hands on your head. So, to be able to translate from doing that sort of stuff to just keeping it, play the way you're facing, take as minimal amount of touches, because the temptation is, when you're that good, that young, you pick the ball up in midfield, you beat everyone and you score a goal. That's the game. So Kobbie Mainoo doing what he's doing by keeping it on two-touch, by moving the ball simply, by getting on the turn and finding other players in space, by running off the ball into wide areas. There's a level of maturity there that I genuinely didn't know that he possessed, and it's impressing the living shit out of me. So, yeah, hopefully that answers question number one. Question number two, Joseph.
Jadon Sancho, thought he looked much more lively. He was actually going past people. You saw him with the goal, racing away from someone and not getting caught. But is that more of what you want to see from Sancho, or do you think it was a bit of a look for the goal?
Right, two sides to what happened with Sancho here today. One was very exciting and maybe turned a corner. We didn't quite see him turn the corner when he came out after the little break that Ten Hag gave him. We all was like, Ten Hag is just doing nothing but net with all of these big decisions, and then the Sancho one, not so much. But we don't know what Sancho we'd have seen if he hadn't done that. So we were projecting that, we were thinking he's going to come back with this Rashford redemption arc, and it didn't quite happen to that level. Maybe he needed this pre-season. And it certainly does in pre-season, but today he looked sharp. He looked really sharp. He took his goal phenomenally well. He had to be in the right position to capitalise on what he did, and he did do that. He ain't a number 9. That's the other side to it, though. He's playing out of position. So I think there's a problem there for Jadon Sancho, because even though he's doing the manager a favour by stepping out of position, he's not grabbing hold of any other position on the pitch. Because as soon as Manchester United sign a striker, and we will sign a striker, he's going to be relegated to go and have to fight for another position where he's not yet had the opportunity to go and impress the manager. So I think Jadon Sancho needs to get into his position where he wants to play. Because, I mean, I'm going to preempt that Anthony's a question coming up. Anthony had so many scoring opportunities and delivered nothing again today. So I think that if someone can get into the team and take that spot off Anthony, I think Sancho could probably do that, to be honest.
We saw sort of some slight differences in shape, or maybe unexpectedly we saw Mason Mount playing almost exactly in the Eriksen slot. You thought it might be a slight tweak. What have you made of the shape of United? What have you made of how Mount has been introduced into the team?
I did think that there would be an evolution of our style of play, and there hasn't quite been that evolution of our style of play. What there has been is a replication of what we saw last year, where he's almost, like you said, just gone boom, straight into the Eriksen position. But who's been playing alongside? He's been playing alongside Mainoo. So I don't know if this is to protect Mainoo or to adapt Mount into the team. Do you see Mount being a single pivot player? No, me neither, right? But I did expect there to be maybe Bruno comes back half a position and maybe Mount comes back half a position, and now between them you've got two very offensive playmakers, and then you can have someone like a Casemiro sit in and defend just in behind them. We didn't see that. We haven't yet seen that. We only saw Casemiro playing with, he had Scott McTominay and who was in his midfield with him? Ericsson. It was Ericsson. And Ericsson was playing the Ericsson role. So we've not really seen what we're all expecting to see. Now, maybe we don't see it. And maybe we just all projected we would see this and we don't. But Mount has slotted into the Ericsson role really, really well. And what the one position I'm seeing on him, it's something that we saw off Mount quite frequently, was getting on the ball. As you've gone down one of the channels, getting on the ball and switching it. And I quite like that, because I think United, maybe in the first half an hour or so today, we looked like we were quite narrow. And I think to utilise the talents that we've got at our disposal, I think you've got to go wide.
Talk about going wide, and that's where the talent is. If we get some talent through the middle, how do you think that changes things? How much are we missing in number 9?
It's hard to say what you're missing without having it, innit? Because like you'd be like, well, this player would have done that, or this player would have done that. We put balls into areas that we don't have anyone to capitalise on, rebounds, mistakes, or whatever. There was a couple of times today where a shot had gone in and nobody followed it in because there was no striker. So you go, okay, well, what would we have done with a striker? We can't extrapolate what you would have done with a striker, because it's hard to say. But I think a striker would be a massive step forward for the team. It's obvious we need one. It's obvious that we want one, and I do believe there would be a transformation. What that exactly looks like tactically, it's hard to say, because we essentially played all last season without one. When we saw Vegas playing, he was essentially coming in and playing as like a 10 at times. So I think someone that can hold the ball up and run beyond would be very transformative for this team.
And one more, just the standard of the opposition. Obviously, Arsenal are a better team than we've played so far. Were you impressed by the way United create chances? Because we did, especially in the first half, cut through them quite a few times. Did you like that we managed to step up while the opposition stepped up?
Yeah, I haven't obviously watched the game back, and I always like to watch a game back without anyone else in my ear, without any commentary to sort of influence it, because I think sometimes commentary can negatively and positively influence what happened in a game, and I don't like doing that. So I obviously haven't watched the game back just yet because we're still in the stadium. But I would like to see what the sort of thing was. What was the common denominator? Was it the one position that we kept going in? We had a few occasions where we was finding space with through balls in wide areas. I think that's something that United haven't really had a lot of, and we haven't really had a lot of runners out wide that have been doing that. I think that's where you get Marcus, although he was quiet today. You get Marcus into those positions, you get Garnacho in those positions, and he was quiet today as well, Garnacho. So all of those kind of forward line didn't really create. The chances were coming through having Bruno and Mount in midfield, and we were putting intelligent balls into the final third. So for me, it looks like we're able to comfortably play through the thirds, and that's with Kobbie Mainoo playing today. And I just say, he was up against a £105 million player in Declan Rice, and I'm going to be honest, you might want to look for the receipt, because you've been fucking mugged.